It seems like nowadays, if you're going to have something really scary and menacing, it has to be a name that ends in ER. You know, whether it's Reaver or Griever or Bieber. The Maze Runner is a film directed by Wes Ball, and it stars Dylan O'Brien and Kaya Scodelario and a whole bunch of other people that we'll get to in a minute. But the premise of this movie is that these kids have been placed in the middle of this maze by someone, and their memories have been erased, and they basically have built this community, and they're trying to find a way to get out of this maze. And every night the maze closes, and if you're trapped in the maze, then you basically don't survive. And so this newcomer, Thomas, who's played by Dylan O'Brien, shows up, and he seems to be more curious than everybody. He wants to know what's out there, and he's determined to do whatever he can to figure out what's out there and how they can escape. This particular adaptation I thought was done pretty well. Now, I will admit, I have not read the book, nor do I care to. That is not really a medium that I get a ton of enjoyment out of. I'm a film guy, which is why I like to go and experience the story as it's being told on film without any preconceived notions and judge it based on what I'm seeing in the film. What I'll say about this film is that I had a really good time. I enjoyed this film a great deal, honestly, and you know, I thought that it was very well acted by several different characters. Dylan O'Brien was great as the lead, and I thought he was a great person to kind of put this film on his shoulders and carry the load. On top of that, much of the supporting cast was really, really good. Ki-Hong Lee as Minho, Ameen as Albie, Thomas Brodie-Sangster as Newt, and Blake Cooper as Chuck were all fantastic, and I really liked the sense of community that their characters brought, and they really complemented the film. If there was a weak point, at times I actually felt like it was Will Poulter as Gally. He had some good moments, but he had a really tough job. I don't know that I credit too much the problem being to him, because he had probably the toughest role to pull off, and that was kind of the doubting Thomas, if you will. He was kind of the hard edge that came into conflict with Thomas's character. And that's just a difficult role to pull off, especially when Thomas is the hero and he's doing all of these things, you know, that are really good. It's difficult to find reasons for a guy to be in conflict with him. And I felt like there were a couple of moments that were, they just didn't really feel genuine to me. Towards the end of the film, I felt like that got better. And I definitely think he seems like he has acting chops, but that was just a tough role, and I don't really feel like it was pulled off as well as maybe it could have been. Now, while I did enjoy this film, I will say that it suffers from a very common ailment of many book adaptations, and that is it simply didn't have quite enough time to tell the story. That's difficult with all book adaptations because there's so much content in a book. You can spend a week reading a book, you've got 2 to 3 hours to watch a movie. That's why I always am a fan of giving book adaptations a full 3 hours to get their story across. Unfortunately, this one didn't have quite that long, and so as a result, there are a few moments, especially towards the end of the film, that do feel rushed. There are parts of the story that you feel like they should probably be taking a little bit more time to kind of flesh this out and, you know, bring it to the audience, and they just don't have enough time, so they kind of plow through it, and yeah, it's a bit jarring. That being said, I thought they did a really good job with this one. I thought the story was cohesive, I thought the acting was good, and I had a really good time watching it. I will say they were a bit heavy-handed when it come to the idea of setting up a sequel. That said, I know it's a book series, and I know there are sequels to the book and even a prequel, so the idea that they were kind of abrasive with their setup of that really didn't bother me too much. I was kind of expecting it, and so I kind of just gave them a bit of a pass on that. That said, I really enjoyed this film. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. If you're interested in seeing The Maze Runner, then I would definitely go and check it out. I think it's a good time. So, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave a comment below and let's talk about it. And as always, click right here if you like what you see and subscribe to even more of me.